Organisms interacting in a natural environment have relationships. We refer to them as symbiotic relationships. In each of the three cases of symbiotic relationships we're going to look at least one of the organisms involved has some sort of advantage in the relationship. It's positive for them. If this weren't the case, the organisms wouldn't have any reason to enter into a relationship. The first symbiotic relationship we'll look at is parasitism. Parasitism involves a parasite living off of a host. In this type of relationship, there's an advantage for the parasite, but what about the host? Is it healthy for the host to have their blood sucked out by a parasite? I think you know the answer to that. We would describe this as a positive-negative relationship. Positive for the parasite, negative for the host. Another type of symbiotic relationship is called commensalism. In commensalism, of course, one of the organisms has an advantage, or it wouldn't be a symbiotic relationship. But in commensalism, the other organism is unaffected. There's no help, there's no harm. An example of this would be the remora fish or sucker fish that coexist with sharks. The fish follow the sharks around and eat scraps from the shark's food. The shark is unaffected. It wasn't food they were going to eat anyway. The shark remains unharmed, but unhelped as well. The remora fish gets food out of the deal, so it has a significant advantage. The third type of symbiotic relationship is called mutualism. There's a clue in the name of the relationship, mutual. Things that are mutual are good for both parties. In this case, there's an advantage for both organisms involved in the relationship. An example of this are the small birds that tend to feed off of large mammals. There's many examples of this. In any case, the birds have an advantage because they get food out of the deal. The larger animal also is helped because they get pests or otherwise parasites that may harm them picked off and taken care of. Let's recapitulate. This is a nice way to look at all three relationships all together. The symbiotic relationship is listed in the first column and the effect on the species in the next two columns. We can see here that commensalism, species A receives a benefit or is positive for them. Species B is unaffected, not harmed or helped. Mutualism, both species receive benefits or is positive for both species. And parasitism, we know that the parasite receives a benefit while the host is harmed.